I think we are live. Yeah, let's get started.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to yet another podcast with the Boundary Riders. Yes, we are not that regular these days, but we try to make ourselves available on days when we can do a bit of analysis and criticism about what is going on in cricket world these days. So it was another painful day in the history of Indian cricket. Of course, whenever there is something happening in the Test match arena, it feels like it's as sensitive and as it impacts the history of how cricket has been played over the years. If you see the different phases of Indian cricket, you remember the rise and fall of Indian cricket more associated with how the Test cricket has gone in that era. So Indian cricket is similarly going through a transition. It is moving to the baton is moving from one era to another, and in this transition, the way things are going, it is very fluctuating. Fluctuating in terms of once we see the highs of the way India played in England, then we see. Of course, West Indies was a weaker opponent, and then we see the lows like how they performed against New Zealand, or how they performed away in Australia, or how they have performed in this test today, which happened with South Africa. So it's a very fluctuating fortunes that India is going through. Of course, they have somebody who is a coach at the top, and I'm not sure it's very controversial on how he is handling the team. So let's go into that discussion. Let's talk about what is happening with the team. Let's just first just discuss overall about this test match. Let's Arjun, let's start with you. Maybe talk about the combination. We have historically seen that test matches we usually play with four and a half bowlers and six proper specialist batsmen and a keeper, maybe, right? So that is the combination. You go with the best five batsmen, if possible, one all rounder who can fit both the purposes, and then four bowlers. That is the combination you go through. So now that has changed a bit. You go with six bowlers. You try to go with a big tail as big as possible. Batting till number eight, maybe. So tell us about the combination. Did you like the combination? And of course, when you talk about it, please elaborate the trend. Of course, how what happened in England, what's happening in this test.
Yeah, see, I think I started following cricket around 1996, 1997. I was 7 or 8 years old. Started to understand cricket like around 2002, 2003 when I was 13, 14, right? When I, that World Cup and all. So I can say that almost 20, 22 years I have seen cricket, understood cricket, right? Never in my lifetime have I ever seen India fielding six bowlers, that is along with four spinners in that lineup in home conditions, and that too, I mean, forget about that too, in home conditions on this pitch where there was only 109 overs that the opposition played throughout both the innings of the test matches. uh, Having six bowlers, out of that four spinners, uh, I don't know who made that selection. Obviously it must have been the coach and the captain, but it was a pathetic selection, pathetic, to be very honest, right? One golden rule, and I think most of the teams follow, is that you should never disturb your top five. You should try to make it a combination as a top five, at least in Test cricket, right? We saw the era of the Gangulis and the Dravids and the Tendulkars. That team, golden team, I think Ganguly, when he retired, then we saw a fluctuation at number five position when Yuvraj came in and all those people, right? Yuvraj, Raina, every KF, they were tested. But apart from that, if you see that golden era of Test cricket, Indian Test cricket, Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, previous Lakshman, and even the opening slot, Sehwag, the other opener was not that fixed. When Gambhir came in, he was the regular opener. It was never touched, that top five. And when Ganguly was playing, he was active. He was in a good form. Then that three, four, five, six, and that opening slot of Virendra Sehwag, it was never touched, never disturbed. Beat any conditions. Yeah, there was like Dravid came at three, Lakshman came at six, Lakshman came at three, Dravid came at six. Those kind of shuffling happened one or two test matches, but that was never the case. That it was like completely a different person going at three, right? Then comes to the era like when the era of the Virats and the Rahanes and all those things. Three, four, five, totally packed. Even the opening slot also almost packed. Murli Vijay was there. Then after that, Murli Vijay came KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, and all those things. So that is basically, see, this is not ODI cricket. This is not T20 cricket. There is very little room for experiment in Test cricket. You need to have specialists in your team. You cannot have all rounders. There's no limitation of the number of overs that a person can bowl in Test cricket, right? There are times, I mean, if you remember those Test matches where Sri Lanka scored 952 runs against India, bowlers bowled 74 overs, spinners, right? So there's no point in fielding all rounders. So I mean, see, we can talk about the pitch, right? I won't criticize the pitch. I won't criticize. First of all, I think Gambhir already clarified that it was their choice, so there is no point of criticism, right? I would criticize the pitch only that okay, it was not as competitive as it should have been, right? But to club with that, I would also say that batsmanship over the years has degraded across all teams. I think if we would have been 20 years or 15 years back, even in the eras of the Virat and the Williamsons, I think the team would have scored better. But with the advent of T20 cricket, I think the technical part of it, of playing Test cricket, that obviously has degraded. But nonetheless, I would never criticize the pitch just because Indian team did not do good there. I would criticize the pitch. Okay, it was not as competitive. It should have had a better contest between bat and ball, right? But not because India lost it, because the pitch was same for both the teams, right? I think we saw the innings of Temba Bavuma. He applied, he played the ball on the merit, he did not play the pitch, he did not play the bowler, and he scored the runs. He was 55 not out in the second innings, right? So we can blame the pitch, we can blame the short selection, and again, I think we will come to all those things. But I think the very first point is that what was the team selection? And you are not building a team. Your player, you're giving Sai Sudarshan 5 Test matches just when he starts to score some runs. And I think home tests are always a good place where players can build their form, right? It's away tests which are challenging. But when he started scoring some runs, I think he scored 87 in West Indies. You quickly change him, and then you change the entire combination. Nobody in this at this particular moment, nobody in the team apart from Shubman Gill knows, or yeah, and even Yashasvi as well, nobody knows that where they are batting and how they are batting, at which position they would have to bat. So if you do so much chopping of your team selection, these are the results that is going to happen. And then you come in the press conference and say that the batters did not apply. You can easily put the blame. The batters did not apply, so we lost the test match. You're not giving the security to your team. You're not making a combination. You're not making a combination that can win across home and away test matches. How could you expect your team to do well? Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri combination just lost 2 test matches in 8 years in home. And this team has already lost 4 test matches out of 6 at home. And the two that came in the winning cause, that was against West Indies. And even the last test against West Indies, that was very well fought. It was not a straight away victory. So pathetic team selection is what I would say.
Right. So even the sense of security that has already gone. I think it's very T20fied version of Test cricket. There are talks about a new version coming in of Test 20. Like we are already seeing a kind of expanded version of that while we see this Test cricket. This form of Test cricket. So, Rikja, you want to talk about Sundar? He was the one whom we are talking about. Otherwise, also he played at number three. He was doing well at lower down the order. He has an average of above 40 in Test cricket. That is true. But he played two crucial innings. Like both the innings, he faced the most number of balls out of everyone. So, any thoughts there?
Yeah. First of all, I would say that mm, probably next match you will see Sai Sudarshan at number three for all the performance he had done. Uh, this Washington Sundar is a great better in terms of application. I mean, even today he has shown the best temperament among all the batters, but he's still not a top order batter. Test match top order batting is a specialist skill. For example, you cannot compare Jasprit Bumrah to a part-timer bowler, right? So Jasprit Bumrah is a specialist skill. Kuldeep Yadav is a specialist skill. Similarly, a number three batter in Test cricket is always a specialist skill. These places were allotted to Rahul Dravid, Cheteshwar Pujara, people like this, and suddenly you got Washington Sundar. I'm not telling that Washington Sundar is not a good batter, but he's not a number three batter. No matter how much application he does, the problem is that when he first came to the batting order, he was well placed, but later on under Gambhir's tenure, he was placed quite slow. He had to uh, bat with the tail, but now suddenly he is in a comfortable position. But still, I believe this is not. He also knows in back of his mind that this team is going to change from one test to the another. Now this has become like a situational team rather than a visionary team. It is a situational team. Like the coach and captain and management, and they will come together, and if in under home condition, they will ask for certain pitches, and they'll do a lot of masterminding and planning and everything, and they'll falter in that. So this is what I can say. Washington Sundar has been one of the good batters in this test match and previous test matches, but I do not know what will this innings lead to. As you have correctly mentioned, nobody knows where their position is. Even one player who actually knew his position, he got injured. That is Subman Gill. So it's a destiny that the only stable position in the team that did not work out as per the plan. So yeah, I think less is more. I don't know how to analyze this current, current loss. I mean, what I want to add is what Ardhendu and I and Dopan was there in our last podcast. We were kind of inching towards a point. I mean, Dopan was actually refuting us, but we were inching to a point that when Gambhir will leave this team, like Rahul Dravid, when he left the team, he left a very stronger core, which was reiterated by Rohit Sharma. That this was a vision that took place for a long 2 3 years, and now we are seeing that. But when Gambhir will leave the team, he will leave exactly what Chappell at that kind of situation. Like it will be very unstable team. Players who prepared their whole life to a certain set of skill will now be confused whether going forward, Team India or management or the next management or the overall format of the game, will they continue to play like this? Will I start to hone my skill? Like for a player like Kuldeep Yadav, who is constantly thinking, should I bat more in the nets or should I work on my skill? So this problem will multiply, and this will impact many players. We can see we I personally believe, I just getting a little off topic. Yashasvi Jaiswal's bad form in this test match is not because of his application skill or not because of it. It is because of his mental, degradation that has happened because of this T20 selection thing. I think this has impacted his game, and this will impact other players too. People might not understand that it's a human being, right? He cannot cascade one certain thing that okay, I didn't get opportunity in T20, and I'll come back to Test cricket with forgetting everything about that. It doesn't work that way. So this mental capacity of the players they will be always in a dilemma. So this is the takeaway from this match, that no matter how much a player performs, for example, you have given we know that Sai Sudarshan performed well in the last match and didn't get an opportunity. No matter how much player prepare their primary skill set, they do not know what they are going to do in the next match, which is a
Right.
very in long term. It is a problem, and that's what we were discussing in our last episode. Yeah, go ahead.
And just to continue from there, like you said, Kuldeep Yadav does not know, like if he has to hone another skill to solidify his position. He is not getting any of the away tests, right? He's getting only the home tests, like in a very scattered and sporadic manner. And then when it comes to crunch situations, maybe he is not being able to perform that well, like somebody like an Ashwin, what he did, or a prime bowler, what could they could have done. And the more strange thing is, if you look at Washington Sundar, he was selected ahead of Jadeja and Ashwin in many of the away tests, right? So he is your primary spinner in away tests. Now coming to the home test, suddenly like he is playing out of position. He becomes number three. Like even though you are all rounder, even though you are kind of improving your skills over the years, it takes a lot amount of mental space, right? Going to bat at number three, you have to concentrate a lot harder. Maybe that is taking away something from his bowling. You look at Jadeja also; he is also, even though six, he has solidified his position at number six. He is playing one position above from where he should. He is ideally a number seven, right? So, two of your prime spinners, they are holding two important batting positions of number three and number six. And then when it comes to their bowling, maybe they are not being able to perform that well, right? So, Shakat, just going to you in that regards itself, how do you see this, like the team selection? If you look at it, if you just see the last match, Nitish Kumar Reddy was there, who was the sixth bowler in home conditions. And do you going forward in this Gambhir era, do you see this six bowler combination at home and five bowler combination away, this continuing, or like you see some drastic changes coming ahead? How do you see the way ahead in the Gambhir era? Though it is very sporadic and it is very difficult to predict, but just by considering what we have seen this far, how do you see it going forward?
So you made an interesting statement about five bowlers and six batter combination, right? So I feel for if you look at historically Gambhir's team selection as a player, as a captain, or as a coach, everybody has to contribute in every or the other skill set, right? You have to bat and bowl, or you have to have a combination of those. Your number 10 should bat. That is how we saw when he used to captain KKR as well. Number 10 used to bat. So he wanted that sort of skill set in the team, and somehow we got a combination that we have a team member of five bowlers and six batters, or so six batters of six bowlers of five batter combination. It can be anything. So let me talk about few points, right? Had Akshar Patel hit couple of more sixes, what we would have discussed today? We would have discussed the master stroke of Gautam Gambhir, batting Washington Sundar, who is the highest run scorer of the Test match for India at number three. We would have discussed four spinner on a track where the game ended in a matter of 2.5 days and with the spin friendly conditions. And we talked about one thin line here we are talking about is the selection of Sai Sudarshan. Do we see any other changes would have been done in this team in place of Sai Sudarshan? Somebody else would have benched. So this is some thin line we are talking about. The decisions which he takes are very bold and very, you talk about sporadic, right? Sporadic decisions do come through majority of the time, but when it doesn't, it looks very odd. It looks the team selection bizarre. So this has happened in the past. He as a think tank always believes what he's doing. The best part is he does not think he won't think separately because Nitish Kumar Reddy has already been released, if you know. He has been already released from the squad, which means we are going to see these sort of tracks in the upcoming test matches as well. We will be going to see all four spinner playing, considering Akshar Patel and Jadeja batting at number six and number seven, which means there is no slot for Washington Sundar playing at number seven or eight, which means he will again going to bat at number three. Probably we will see Sai Sudarshan come in at some point of time at someone's place, but we don't know who is that. Probably, who knows, Siraj will be benched as well. So at some point of time, we have to agree with the fact that he is going to take these calls and it will come through and it won't come through. It is just that matter of thin line. So we have to trust and go ahead.
Right. Uh, yeah, but yeah, that's true. That's only the one selection that becomes borderline. Maybe Washington Sundar playing at three, that was the borderline. But if just moving away from this test match, let's look at the T20 setup these days, right? You see a Samson who has been performing so well in the opening position, right? And suddenly, just in order to inject Gill into the setup, we saw that he is playing out of position, and then he's eventually dropped. Even if you look at this test match, Gill got injured, but he has been continuously playing over the last few days, right? And one such injury was very obvious when he could have easily evaded that, like being the test captain and being in such a prestigious position, he could have. This could have been easily evaded. I won't say he could have evaded that. This could have been evaded if he wouldn't be part of the T20 setup. So just moving away from what happened today, because I think we have discussed enough, though we will discuss further. But just moving away from the setup, how do you rate the T20 side of it? Because just because you were like talking in favor of Gambhir's coaching ways, so just coming back with this question to you, Shekhar.
So I think, see, in every fortnight we see India is playing cricket international level. So it's terrible for a player to go. So forget about a captain. India's captain, Saurav Ganguly might have defined what India's captain go through. So the kind of pressure that they deal with every point of time. So imagine a player playing and captaining the side. Just thinking aside from the T20 where he's not captaining, Gill, I'm talking about Gill, and you go through that fitness level, you go through that mental agony and mental pressure all the time, proving yourself each and every game, considering the crowd we have as an emotional fan of India's fan base, right? And then you suddenly get a time of matter of a week to switch your game plan, to switch your um, way of batting technique, everything, and then you land up in Test cricket after the T20 setup, where you're supposed to score more than one because he was criticized a couple of in probably the fourth T20 international where he scored around 47 runs and what 120 odd strike rate. He was criticized with the strike rate, and suddenly you're coming here, you're expected to score not more than 30-35 odd with a strike rate of 30-40. So this then does gives a lot of mental barrier, a lot of mental pressure. There is no way you can give that, and you can ask a player to do that, playing all the format of cricket continuously in a matter of a week time. So it's a very, I would say it's a terrible decision to bring in Gill. It might impact his all format batsmanship ability. I feel. Forget the captainship, all format bats. Still is India's one of the best batter in the lineup. There will be some impact for sure.
Right, right. And Rigja, you and me, since we have like started enjoying cricket together, we have been a very big enthusiast of this entire brand making format, right? Being it the kind of stickers that are honed in the players' bats, or be it the brands that they are endorsing also. So this standardization of number four owning the MRF bat and playing all three formats, opening in the other format or playing at the in the top three. So do you think Gill kind of got stuck into that brand making arena?
Yes, it is. We have already discussed in the last podcast featuring Doipayan, and it was a very heated conversation between all of us. That because
Hmm.
I think there was a trade-off. I think Agarkar and other BCCI management kind of told Gambhir that this is our because after loss of, I mean, like when Gambhir wanted to get rid of Rohit and Kohli from the team, BCCI wanted alternate because if you still see the hot, I do not follow cricket on Star Sports anymore. I do watch Hotstar. If you see the Hotstar uh, advertisement that is going on, it is still going on the first one day match that's gonna happen on 30th of November. There is no mention of any test tournament between India and South Africa on the Hotstar app. Even if you go directly, whenever there is a cricket match, that pops up in the beginning, right? Whenever there's an India cricket match, that pops up in the beginning of the homepage on the whatever sports app you use. In generally in India, it's mostly Hotstar. So, but today I saw it was more of like watch Big Boss or okay or watch something else. Don't watch the test match. That was the approach. Like it was like deliberately in a second or third option. But and when I was watching Big Boss, the ads of the cricket were related to the one day series. Why? Because dono bhai dono tabahi. Okay, and kind of like this kind of ads are going on. So it is. I could understand that there is a huge commercial baggage that BCCI carries to be the world leader in cricket. They have to do a lot of calculation in terms of creating brand, creating values, creating, it's more of a business now rather than the game itself. So now they are desperate to have the next superstar ready, and I think that hasn't happened. Like when Kohli was rising, when Sachin was on his end of his career, then we had some crop of players, and we saw that glimpses of Kohli. In if you, I think Shomodik went to that match where Gambhir actually gave Kohli the man of the match. It was the Calcutta match against Sri Lanka. Kohli scored his first one day
First,
century.
ODI
Yes,
century.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. So
ODI.
that time he gave the glimpse of great player. Like not only he's a good hitter of the ball, but he was like he has that temperament. He can lead. I mean, he can chase the whole big score. He can make runs. He can stop the ball if there are conditions, and he can play in multiple conditions. So he was giving that glimpse. So it was not something manufactured. That doesn't happen anymore. That the concept of popular culture or centralization of talent doesn't happen anymore, because now we are watching literally an India A versus Pakistan A match, because nobody plays cricket other than India. Okay, so that's why India has to create 5 6 teams and then entertain us. We have become so kind of like that. So that is why there will be no the see we Yashasvi Jaiswal is yet to make his position stable in the team, and we are already talking about Vaibhav Suryavanshi. We do not know whether Vaibhav Suryavanshi will ever get a chance in the team or not. But had this been 90s and 80s, we know this is the next Sachin Tendulkar, and he's gonna slowly make his way to the team, and he's going to keep that expectation. But that won't happen because our attention spans are less, and in this situation, in this particular cultural situation, BCCI is desperate to have a new superstar in hand, so that he can bank upon him and show his picture over and over again, so that they can get the exact value out of him. And that man is Subman Gill. And the whatever coach staff team they have now, they have been given this directive that this man should feature everywhere, and you have to fit your team accordingly. And that's the only reason for like completely destroying the opening or the top order slot for T20 in India, and that will get impacted when India will not win the T20 World Cup. We all, Ardhindi and I, who have discussed this in very much detail, that India will not win the T20 World Cup because of this particular reason. When you had a experienced stable player and some young players who were able to make some dent in the opposition, you are immediately changing it without any particular reason. And similarly, as we also discussed this point, that you are putting so much burden on a 26-year-old. Subman is not that old. He's only 20, and he's like colleague of Abhishek Sharma. So if we can consider Abhishek Sharma as a young chicken, then Shubman Gill is also of the same age. So kind of like that. And you are putting so much burden, and this injury was bound to happen. We already predicted that this is going to happen, and this is going to impact not only his career, it will impact India's performance in all these three formats. This will impact his own career because he will be put under extra pressure, and he knows that, because people always follow stuff. We put our opinion over internet, and players also follow the stuff, and they know that this is an extra pressure that is always on him. He has been good in the England away series, but that doesn't mean that you have to have this person in all the formats, especially in T20. One day cricket, he can continue, but T20, he would have been easy. Like we know that Joe Root is one of the finest batsmen in cricket overall. Still, he doesn't choose to be a part of. I mean, he doesn't get selected, and there is enough reason for that. So similarly, I believe that there is no way other than a clear directive coming from the top to create to manufacture a kind of a celebrity in Subman Gill. This has been done. So business taking more preference rather than the like the thought process or the mindset of the game itself.
And
Right.
I would like to add here that see, it's not about the age. I mean, I would not say it's about the age. Graham Smith became the captain at the age of 22, right? Virat Kohli was the captain of the Indian team Indian Test team at the age of 25. It's not about the age; it's about the fitment, right? While Shubman Gill is perfectly at the present, he's maybe the best player in the Test team. He along with Yashasvi Jaiswal in ODI team, he's also one of the best players in the team, right? And obviously, it is very logical to not have Rohit Sharma as the captain. Virat Kohli will not be taking the captaincy. Shreyas Iyer was the other person to be the part of that group or maybe become the captain. But again, that's okay. Shubman Gill can lead the team in the ODI, can lead the team in the Test matches. But does he deserve to be in the 11 the T20 team? He does not. When Virat Kohli took the captaincy for all the three formats, he was the best player in the team across all formats. I do not favor the concept of the best player being the captain, but what I'm saying is that if he is leading the team, he should have that confidence, or basically not exactly the confidence. He should
It
when
should be
he
an
talks
automatic
to the other
choice.
players, yeah, he should be an automatic choice, and he should be like when he talks to the players, like he should be very much confident. Okay, I deserve this, right? I being the 11, I know that I should be the part of the 11, but that is not the case with T20, right? The overall the entire point of it is, and I think Shomodeep, you mentioned a very good point, right? That after Gambhir leaves, this team will be totally in shatters. That is what is going to happen. What kind of team is Gambhir going to build in a test match? Right? There's a lot of issues with this selection, be it test match, be it T20. Right? I understand all the logic. I think Rickjoy mentioned, and I agree with his logic that yes, BCCI works on money. It wants to create a brand. It has to create a brand, right? Because it will get all the ad sponsors and everything. Otherwise, it will be the same team like Pakistan, right? So I agree with all those things, but you should not disturb your combination, be it any format, right? You should not disturb your combination. You have, and especially again, test match is very close to all of us, right? We have seen it, we have grown with it, right? Test match is the purest form of cricket, and I think there are only very less teams that are left to play Test cricket. I think it's New Zealand, England, South Africa, Australia, and India. And these 4 or 5 teams are there to play Test cricket. And if for India, if you try to build that into a team like T20 and ODI, that is extremely sad. You cannot build your Test team based on all rounders. It has to be always specialists, right?
Right. Right. And just to add on to what Rijoy was mentioning in terms of how it has been over the past few years, if you look at since T20 cricket became an integral part of this three format cricket system, so if you look at from 2007 to till today, there have been very limited players who have been experts in all three formats, right? And it is understandable. If you look at Dhoni, he used to play from 2007 to 14. He played all the three formats, and then he retired from Test cricket because he could not take the burden, maybe. Not everybody is a Kohli. Not everybody is a Kohli. So that is what has to be understood, and I think it is becoming too much of a burden, and also it's very skewed, right? It's very kind of polarized. On one hand, Gill is the only stable position in all three formats, and everything else kind of shakes around it. So, Shwekat, I'll just come back to this question because you were talking about it's kind of a borderline. So, do you still feel that when Gambhir leaves this team, will it be something similar to what happened during the Chapel era, or do you feel that it would go into safe hands?
See, I think things have changed drastically. What we're talking about the 90s era and the Chapel era. I mean, the early 2000s, right? What changed? Just think of Test cricket in India in the last couple of years, or let's say 1 year. What have we seen? What have we seen as a batting standards in Test match cricket in India? Batsmen who have scored 50 odd run are probably the highest run scorer. Test matches are going either 3.5 days or 4 days max, and on the final day we are seeing what 15 plus 18 versus 15 odd wickets in a day. So the kind of trend which we are seeing in India test matches, it's very difficult to compare the numbers what we will be generating for Indian batters in today's world and what you will be going to compare which we used to have in the earlier days, right? So we cannot really compare what we are leaving behind as a legacy. What we have seen definitely in last couple of years, what the likes of Virat Kohli also struggled a lot in India. We have seen a lot of greats have struggled a lot. Pujara could not sustain, Rahane could not sustain, Virat Kohli could not sustain India. Eventually, they were forced to kick out. They were forced to, take retirement. I would rather say. So it's adamant we are going through certain changes and transition in our Test cricket, especially when we are playing in a conditions like this. It's a paradise for spin bowlers, and it's a hell for top order or Indian batters. So I think it's hard to compare what we are saying that we won't be leaving behind any legacy. We have already started seeing the trend that we are not going to leave behind any legacy if we continue seeing test matches like this. The moment a coach comes in and says, okay, our strength is not just spin bowling. Our strength is pacers. What Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri has created a legacy or a trend of pace bowlers in India, right? The moment we see those things and we ignore the fact that we are playing four spinners, we need these kind of pitches, that day probably we will see some changes. But we are not confident enough to sustain with five. We are not confident enough. We don't trust our pacers. We don't trust the skills of our batters. Rather, we trust the skills of the opponents that they'll play probably an overseas batsman will play pace bowlers way better than us. The day we see this change, then only narratives will change. Everything is based on that. Your team selection is based on that. So I think this is the change what we needed. Pitches. That's all. We are seeing these pitches in our domestic cricket, right? Our domestic cricket goes on for 4 days, 4+ days, but our international cricket doesn't. So the selection comes from there, but actual applications does not sustain.
Right. And like in my mind, I'm still like you're saying, multiple things have changed, but I think the core of how test matches are played or how the test matches are conceptualized, that stays the same. Somewhere down the line, I still feel that giving a player a long run, like it used to happen just very recently in the Kohli Shastri era. Ridhiman Saha, he did not play for over a year, and when he came back, he was the first player to get a chance back. So that concept of long run has erased away somewhere. Like in this age of low attention span, maybe we are not attending to players that well. Every player is coming, going, and we have a big pool. India has a big pool of players, but you see that long run concept has gone. I'm still stuck in why Karun Nair has not gotten a longer run. He played some good innings in. He was playing well in England. From what we saw, but just he was one of the bad deliveries, and he was getting out. And so were many other players, right? But still, he got dropped. Yeah, Shokat, you wanted to add something?
No, you're talking about long run. I thought there's one player who is getting longer and is Harshit Rana.
Right. So that concept has gone away. I still feel that that basic of cricket, that basic concept of cricket, where you give that sense of security to a player, that always works out. Like I'm not sure what is going in the mind of so many domestic players in the Indian circuit who are trying to maybe find a position in one of the top four in Indian Test cricket team, but somebody like Washington Sundar is playing at number three, right? So what must be going in their mind? You look at Karun Nair; he scored 700 odd runs in that one series, ODI series. He got his chance, but
Mm.
maybe he did not. He faltered, but still, just 5 test matches or 4 test matches, and then we erase him out of the memory. And then same is happening with Sai Sudarshan. So I'm not sure like where this is heading towards. Who would be? How would the team look over the next 1 year? No one, none of us know, right? What would happen to who would be the top four? We do not know. Like whether we'll get back to that era where we had stability in the team, we do not know. So yeah, any thoughts about the Indian bowling today, Rigja? Bumrah got those 5 wickets in the first
I,
innings, but
I would like to complete what Shoikat has said. Like, yeah, the only constant here is Harshit Rana, and that kind of tells you that what is the way forward. Like, you have to be jack of all trades and then absolutely master of nothing. Okay, then you'll be, getting a chance in the Indian squad. Bowling wise, I would say pitch was the biggest benefactor. Like because of the pitch, the bowling was impeccable. I mean, if you see the South Africans got out to quite amazing deliveries, like they were trying to leave a ball, or they were trying to defend a ball, or they were trying to, like, just especially Bumrah's first innings, a couple of deliveries were literally unplayable, and couple of deliveries I think were assisted by the pitch. So I won't say. I mean, even a dead pitch, I think Bumrah and other spinners will be still useful. I mean, if it is a batting paradise, our bowlers have enough abilities and skill set to take 10 wickets. And that was the Indian tradition. Even uh, in 90s and 2000, when we played on a very flatter surface, still our spinners and pacers used to take wicket. Mostly spinners, and only two spinners were, even in the historic Kolkata Test. The other spinner was Venkatapati Raju. So so, so still we won that match. So that is the beauty of playing in India, right? And that balance have kind of gone away. And we are going back to the same thing about the team selection. But yeah, bowling wise, I think there's nothing to complain. Like even if it was I mean, if it was a batting paradise, Indian bowlers would have still taken wicket, because they have been playing in the home conditions throughout their life. Players like Jadeja where are like, they are the legends of the game, I would say, especially in Test cricket, and they know what where to bowl, how to bowl. Even in the last match that India played against South Africa in Kolkata, that was the World Cup 2023 group stage match, I think round robin match. And if you remember, South Africa were all out in 59, I think 59 or 60 something. They couldn't even score 100 runs, uh, and mostly the wickets were taken by the spinners at that point of time. So yeah, so bowling wise, no complaint, I would say.
Right.
Even lesser number of bowlers, even without Washington Sundar bowling a single ball, uh, India would have still, done better.
Right. And in terms of team selection, if you see, like with the WTC cycle, even the last WTC cycle with that loss to New Zealand, it was kind of eye opener. And after that, India has not taken any single chance in terms of selection. Right. You see Bumrah playing all the test matches, be it home or away. He definitely plays, and India tries to kind of select the best team always, but somehow the 11 that India is choosing, maybe they have gone away from that concept of the best in the trades, like five best batsmen, five best bowlers, one all rounder, or and a wicket keeper who can bat. So that concept has gone away with. But in this WTC cycle also, India is very precariously placed. Right, they are already in the fourth position. They have lost three matches out of the eight they have played. One has been drawn, and they have won four though. But still, like they are precariously placed. And South Africa, they play relatively very less matches compared to what India plays, or some other teams. They play less matches, and there is always Australia who kind of tend to win everything. And the uh, kind of the way that India is playing, that home advantage is totally gone. Right now, the home advantage is totally gone. So, Arjundu, how do you see this WTC cycle?
I
Yeah.
just want to add more point. That is, the next series will be August 2026. After the next Guwahati match, the next series will be August. Before that, India will not play any more Test matches. So yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Right. So just I was trying to go into that thought process and discuss with Arjun. Like, how do you see this WTC cycle going forward? How are Indian chances?
Yeah, so I think, see, India, as per me, like how it is going, right? If you want to be in that finals of the WTC, right, you have to do well at home, right? And at least as of now, what I'm seeing is that we are not doing that, and you would see the major impact, right? This is just a two-match series, right? If you're losing one, you're losing 50% of the points, right, for this particular thing. So that is a very, very huge impact, right? So I'm not sure if India does well again in the away test matches, which they did well in England, right? So they might go into the top two, but as of now, whatever I see, I don't think India will be in the top two. It is going to be Australia and South Africa again, or maybe I'm not sure if New Zealand or England. I don't think they will go into it in the finals. But yeah, it will be Australia, South Africa is what I see. India will be probably placed at 3 or 4 again, yet again, and that will be mainly attributed to their not not par performance at home. So yeah, that is what my thought process would be related to this.
Right. And while we were talking about England series, it was kind of a litmus test on how where Gambhir's coaching is going. Because prior to that, that loss against New Zealand, that did not augur well. In Australia, the performance was pretty bad. So the performance in England was kind of a litmus test for him. There, India performed considerably well. Nobody thought that it would be
Hmm.
a run test. So there also he took some very kind of skewed kind of decisions which went in India's favor to a certain extent. So, like Shoikat was mentioning, that there are some positives to look forward to. If you look at it is kind of a different topic though. But if you look at the way Washington and Akshar Patel, they are being given confidence. Even Jadeja is being given confidence. Even Nitish Kumar Reddy, he played those couple of test matches against West Indies. So he is trying to build in that solid core of all rounders. If it happens to click, it would work. A lot would work in India's favor if kind of it happens to click, because we have kind of longed for a good all-round team where everybody contributes for a long time, right? It was back in those Ganguly era when all the top four, Virendra Sehwag, Sachin, Ganguly, and then I think there was one more
Yuvraj.
who Yuvraj. Yes, they used to contribute with the ball as well, and then there were other bowlers. So India used to play with just four bowlers in ODIs, and rest these four used to contribute with the ball. So if it happens to click, it would go on a positive way. If it does not click, it would look pretty ugly, right? So just
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm just one point. I'm glad you mentioned the format ODI, right? Test match is not the place where you do
no,
such
yeah,
experiments.
definitely.
So
Definitely.
so so that is the reason. I mean, see, again, the point we might be circling back to the same point again and again, right? So when Virat and Ravi Shastri were there, right? They left a legacy that India has a solid fast bowling lineup and we can defeat. I think if you see that interview, I think I was just seeing it today. Virat mentioned that I'm not being overconfident or I'm not being arrogant here, but we can defeat any team, any place, right? That is the kind of legacy they left. When Dravid and Rohit were working, I think they continued that stability. They continued on those paths, and I think in the Test match they followed the same template, nothing different. But in the ODIs and in the T20, they came up with an approach after the 2021 loss in the T20 semifinals. They changed their approach. They built a legacy out of it, right? I don't see a legacy being built after the Gambhir era. That is the problem. I mean, I don't see that this team is going to have great spinning lineup because nobody is going to get that long run, right? Four bowlers, 54 overs. Your Washington Sundar is bowling 1 over. Your Akshar Patel is bowling 6 overs. Your Kuldeep Yadav is bowling 8 overs. So nobody is going to get that. And spinners have talked about it before that whenever we play in India, right, we take some time to get into the rhythm, right? So you're not allowing anyone. So this was a short test match, but what if it was a test match where the opposition might have played 100 overs? Would Washington Sundar have got more than 10 overs? I don't think so, right? So whenever you bowl with four spinners, you underbowl two spinners, right? So this team does not have is not able to build up its spinning lineup. It's not able to build up a fast bowling lineup, fast bowling battery. If you see who is the fast bowler, they are they are playing Bumrah against West Indies, which is absolutely not necessary. They're just killing his career, nothing else. More and more, Bumrah will play in home conditions. The kind of bowling style he has, and the run up and everything, and the way he delivers the ball, it will shorten his career, right? Siraj is a workhorse; he will play everywhere, right? But who else apart from that? If you want to build your bowling lineup, give Prasidh Krishna a chance. Give if you want to bring Harshit Rana, also give him a chance. Whoever you want to, right? Prasidh Krishna is there, Akash Deep is there. Give them more a longer run. Na? Bumrah is a sure shot. He will play. He will take wickets in Sena countries. He will take wickets in India. Everywhere he will take wickets. But who else apart from that, right? So what I'm saying is that they're not building. And then at number three, there's no number three. There's no definite three. I'll tell you, there are four positions as of now that are fixed. Rahul, Yashasvi, Gill at four, and Pant at five, maybe. That's it, right? Jadeja is playing six. Sometimes he plays seven. Nothing else. There is no definite number three. There is no definite number six. So what? You're not building your batting lineup. You're not building your bowling lineup. What kind of team are you building?
True. Okay, and
Ajinkya Rahane with an average of 38, 39, he played for so many years at number five. That is the kind of backing you need to give your players. Ajinkya Rahane never used to perform in home conditions. Right? He was a person who used to play very well at the away in the away conditions, but at home he was not that good. But the team kept on backing. That is the kind of backing you need to do for your players.
right. True. Yeah. Enough said about this test match. We have a ODI series coming up, and then we have the T20 World Cup coming up. So just maybe some thoughts there. Shwekat, anything to look forward to in the ODI series?
I think this is the only format which last couple of series, right? India did not do well. Just to highlight one statement which I was reading, the failures, whatever came in for Gautam Gambhir as a coach, was only in presence of Kohli and Rohit. In their absence, he won everything. So this is the format where India will be trying to, force and win few series and string together. Although this is not the most demanding format in today's world, especially when there's a T20 World Cup coming up. I don't, I don't, I don't know why these ODIs are still getting. We are getting this ODI series when we have a T20 World Cup ahead. We might have in the next cycle when ODI World Cup comes in. We should have played much more ODI cricket, but this is a format with limited number of games. India needs to prove. India has the best ODI team, I would say, out of all three formats. This is the format where they should do well, but unfortunately, they are not doing well. This is something they need to improve.
And anything to talk about in terms of where we are heading towards for the T20 World Cup? Or Zindu, maybe you can take up.
Yeah, T20 World Cup. I think see, apart from a few selections which something I cannot digest personally, right? I think the rest of the team it's doing good. I think the results are fine, but I am very skeptical the way India will perform at the T20 World Cup. I don't think they're going to win it unless they make some changes, right? They have to make some sacrifices. I think Gautam Gambhir as a coach, he has to make some sacrifices. He has to take some tough calls. Otherwise, I think the preparation is fine. I think the team is getting good game time. I think the team there are certain positions. It's not unsettled like the test team. Even the ODI team, and the T20 team, it's not unsettled like the test team, right? So yeah, people know. People, I think there is just that Tilak Verma plays sometimes at three, sometimes at five. Surya Kumar Yadav always comes at four. Abhishek Sharma, we have a definite opener. Gill, I think they are projecting as an opener, right? And then I think we have some finishers at the end. So I think this is fine. T20 team is good. It's just that if we continue to do good and keep up the performance and keep up the confidence, maybe yeah we can do well in the T20 World Cup.
Tilak Verma was dropped, by the way, in the last T20.
Yeah,
Right.
Sanju Samson and Tilak Verma are dropped
yeah.
in the
Sanju
Australia.
Samson. I don't think Sanju Samson is going to get back into that team now that he is going to don the jersey of CSK. So yeah, yes,
Yeah, that becomes another roadblock for him.
yes.
So who
He's
else is our wicketkeeper apart from Jitesh Sharma?
I think they are only looking at Jitesh Sharma. I don't think even KL Rahul is in the mix or Rishabh Pant is in the mix.
I don't think so. I'll there might be. We never know, right? We still have 12 odd T20s before the World Cup. You
12,
never
12.
know who will be the wicketkeeper.
No, so Gambhir will not straightforward drop Samson out of the scheme of things.
Mhm.
Samson will be there. It will be that just that Jitesh Sharma will be the first choice wicketkeeper.
He will
I think
be
that is
Probably.
he will be Rinku Singh out of India, out of TB
hmm.
basically. He will go
Jitesh.
everywhere and
So they have a plan for Jitesh Sharma because Jitesh Sharma is captaining the India A team
yeah.
now. So I think
Yeah,
they
there
will
is
start projecting.
there is batting at number four though. So it's
Yeah,
a bit higher than where he would get a chance in India, where he plays for India. But still,
I
like
would have
Samson,
I would have loved to see Jaiswal and Abhishek Sharma
Abhishek.
combination, but that is not going to happen. I know that.
Oh, right, we have all the resources,
There
but
was a
somehow,
there was a funny reel of an Indian impersonating Vase, okay, and he's like he was like एक तरफ से मारना चाहिए दूसरे तरफ से बोले ले जा तू मार के वो दोनों ही तरफ से
yeah,
मारेंगे
it was Shivankit Parihar.
yeah
So that guy who has he has done lot many series and all. He was in
yeah
Sixer, and then that
his mimicry was quite good
yeah.
so
He did
he
Gill's
was
Gill's style of play is actually Gill's style of play actually does not fit
yeah
the current T20 setup that we have. Right?
and
His
Samson
game,
opening was solving a lot of problems in terms of combination. A
yes,
keeper who is
absolutely.
opening, it takes away one headache of where the keeper should play, and if he's a finisher, he's middle order. Where so yeah. Sorry, Arjun, I cut you while you're
No,
saying.
no. I think that's what I was saying. That Gill style of play. I mean, Gill Virat, right? I mean, they are almost similar type of players. I think Virat had a better game than Gill. Gill has a similar game, but that does not fit the current T20 setup that we have in international cricket.
No, the advantage
It.
of Virat is that he would
Virat
win
has
you
way
matches, right?
better
He,
I
he
mean
would
bigger
he would
short
win
range
you.
Hmm.
The advantage of Virat is like he would take away matches from losing positions and convert that into a win. So
and
if,
he was
I
a
think
master chaser. There is no
yeah,
one like
Yeah.
Virat who can chase. He was a master
I
chaser.
think they,
I don't
they
think
were trying to project Gill in that manner only. Like they wanted a stability, somebody who is a stable batsman who would help you in those difficult matches where the maybe the conditions are favorable for bowling and all. So they wanted a technically sound batsman, but I think he's not doing justice to any of those. Right, and um, even when they have accepted a template of playing, they should have stuck by it. He just like it shakes everything. Bringing Gill to open shakes the entire combination. Yeah,
Yes.
so I
Correct.
think yeah. Sorry, somebody was saying something.
No. No.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. We discussed about all the three formats. We discussed about the way Gambhir is coaching the team through in these three formats. And definitely, 5 years or 6 years back, when these kind of discussions used to happen, we used to talk a lot more about how the captains are performing. But now it's more about how the coaches are performing. Such kind of character Gambhir is. Of course, like you will find people like you will find two poles of it, somebody liking the Gambhir style of coaching, somebody not liking it, but definitely like it always gets interesting when such kind of character is at the top and controlling things. So yeah, not much to look forward to. We have three ODI matches and then a series of T20I matches leading up to the T20 World Cup. A lot to see. Every team selection would be interesting to watch. Who gets chance in which format? Of course, India has a huge pool, and let's see where it goes. But yeah, it's
there's
kind of disappointing.
there's an interesting option coming up. That's
Right,
where our interest.
absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And we saw the releases, of course, like we are pretty much close to an hour. Do we want to talk about it or should we take it in some other?
We need
Yeah, we
another
should.
podcast for it.
Yeah, we
Yes.
definitely need another podcast for it. I was just
We're good
trying
for
to touch it
this
through
was a
and then
shock. This was a shock podcast because mostly I think this is the classic characteristic of a Kolkata match. every Kolkata match starts with an amazing hype. We are having Test cricket after 6 years in Kolkata, blah blah, falana dimkana, and then we lost the match.
Right. And when there is no hype, then we win it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, I think we discussed for pretty much an hour, and it was wonderful to see you after a long time. I have not been part of this podcast for quite some time now, but yeah,
Okay.
it was good to catch up with all of you. And some interesting days of cricket coming forward. Of course, once the auction happens, maybe we'll talk about the retentions and then we'll talk about the
We'll
strategies
definitely meet
going
after
forward to
this.
the auction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say a goodbye to all our viewers on that note. Thank you everyone for joining us and
Thank you.
please like and subscribe the channel. Bye bye everyone.